Hello, First Baptist Church family. My name is Pastor Luke. I'm the youth and children's pastor at First Baptist Church. If you haven't met me yet, thank y'all for joining me on my back porch on a nice day when the weather is nice enough and I have the time. I really enjoy doing my devotional out here because it's pretty peaceful. I can just kind of sit and read. So, thank you all so much for joining me. If you are not sure what this is, we are trying to go through the book of Proverbs over the month of May. There are 31 chapters in Proverbs, so we're going through a chapter a day. And because today is the 13th, I'm taking you through the 13th chapter. Ooh, spooky. So, turn your Bibles to Proverbs chapter 13. This is a pretty big chapter, so I'm just going to try to highlight a few verses that might be something that, as I read through it in the whole month, I see this as a theme consistently throughout the book. Right? This is something that I keep seeing occurring, or maybe in the chapter this is popping up. So I want to draw some of those out for you. So I'm just going to read a few verses, maybe highlight a point that this is what it would say to me, this is what the challenge would be to me, and hopefully it's beneficial and enjoyable to y'all. So let's look in. The first is just right there in verse 1. A wise son hears his father's instruction, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. I want to save a point of comment because I think another verse that kind of drives this point home is in verse 20. Whoever walks with the wise become wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. I think what you see kind of through this chapter is the idea that who the influences that you have pouring into your life, are those being evaluated? That starts with us being open to an influence being able to correct and change our life, because throughout the book of Proverbs we see that fools reject wisdom. Fools don't look for people to come in and redirect their path, redirect their life. But we see the challenge to the wise is to be open to correction, to be open to that. So my first question is, as we approach this devotional time, are our hearts open to what God might do? Are they open to God saying, hey, you need to do more of this, do less of this, go talk to this person, avoid this influence? Are we approaching our devotional time honestly ready for correction or guidance or rebuke? I think that's something that only you're going to know the answer to that. But as we go through this book, hopefully our hearts are being open to what God is doing. And then lastly, I want to just read the few verses in their entirety, because I think when we ask the question, what influence are we allowing into our lives? I think these verses are good to challenge us. We're going to read the last few verses, 21 through 25. Disaster pursues sinners, but the righteous are rewarded with good. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteous. The fallow ground of the poor would yield much food, but it is swept away through injustice. Whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. The righteous has enough to satisfy his appetite, but the belly of the wicked suffers want. I think, there's a superficial truth to live your life in such a way that, you can leave an inheritance, do the good things, you can discipline and train up correctly. I think there's that superficial truth. What I really see here is asking the question, by what metric are you measuring your life? If all we ever do is leave physical, material things for our children, there's some superficial good there. We certainly don't want to neglect those things. But really, I see this chapter asking, are you doing things of eternal significance for those around you? And is your life being poured into with things of eternal significance? What influences are we letting speak to us, and what influences are we pouring out? I think that is the challenge here, to look at our lives and to not just be content with leaving behind material, physical things, but wanting to live a life that is eternal impact, wanting to live a life that is training my kids in such a way that they can then train their kids in a similar manner. I think that would be the hope of all of us. I think the difficult thing of the Christian life is then, how do we do it? And what a joy it is to work through that and study that together and participate with one another, this lifelong sanctification. So I hope this has been beneficial for you. Tune in on Friday as we post another video, and join us as we go through the book of Proverbs through the month of May. So I hope you all are having a great day, and we'll see y'all soon. Thank you, church.